Hi, welcome to part 2 of the Paradox instrument build. In part 2, we're going to assemble the drive shaft of the Paradox instrument. We're not going to do the rotors. The rotors are going to be the subsequent parts. The rotors are what goes on the shaft. For the shaft, we're going to use 5/16 inch hollow brass rod. This you can get at K&J Engineering. You can get it on Amazon. It's very well made, very precise. And then we're going to need 4 3D printed parts. You're going to need the shaft bearing end, the shaft drive end, the bearing housing top part, which will go on top of the bearing housing. So now what I forgot to tell you to do in the previous part is before you mount the bearing housing bottom part is make sure you put the number 8 1.5 long screws in, because when we put the bearing housing top part on, it's going to go over those screws as such. The other thing you're going to need are 2 bearings. I believe these are standard roller skate bearings or skateboard bearings, but I'll get you the nomenclature. They're 7mm inside diameter, and they're 22mm outside diameter, and I think the width, I forgot what the width is. And then you're going to need this is another 3D printed part. This is a bearing spacer. Then you're going to need 2 number 6 screws that are 1/2 inch long, 2 number 6 wing nuts, 2 number 6 washers, and 2 wire eyes that can be crimped. Plus you'll need the crimping tool as well. The other thing you're going to need is number 22 gauge wire. This stuff you get on Amazon. It's very good stuff for what you pay for it. What I like about it is that the wire is already tinned, which is nice. And the insulation on the outside is very heat resistant. It's very good. As one of the problems you get with the cheap wire, let's say, that you would get from what used to be called Radio Shack, is the insulation was just a simple thermoplastic. And then when you'd solder the end, your insulation would melt back like a 1/4 inch to almost a 1/2 inch away from your soldered joint. It was really irritating. You actually had to go and reinforce it by putting extra heat shrink tubing on the end of it to keep any wires from touching. This stuff is very good. You don't need to do that. So that's what we're going to be using here. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to make some twisted pair. So what I've done is I selected the blue and the yellow wire because I have used more of the other colors. And we're going to pull out about 1 meter with the wire. And we got the other end in a drill. All right, it's not the greatest twisted pair in the world, but it'll get the job done. That's pretty good. Now, when you use this wire, don't use the stuff that went into the drill. Cut it off over here because this stuff is going to be highly fatigued. So, okay, next put on a pair of crimp. I did a really awful job putting these crimp connectors on. But make sure you check it by tugging on them to make sure they don't come off. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to put this piece aside. Okay, we're going to go from the other end, and we're going to use the end section of this for the set of wire that goes on the shaft itself. Okay, so set this half aside. Well, actually, we're gonna set this part aside. We're gonna continue with this. Okay, the next step you want to do is get your bearing housing. Okay, then you get your 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch brass flat rod, and you put it into the hole. Or I'm sorry, find the side that's got the screw hole and the slot. You stick the brass into the slot just so it's coming through on the other side. And then what you do is you bend this up over the hole, and then you put something else in, like, I should have had it out, like this, to mark the hole from the other side, and then you drill the hole. The reason why I'm not doing it is because I already made one. And then you cut this off. When you're done, it should look like this. And you can see how that fits in the hole, and you're going to do one for each side. Okay, once you put them in, Okay, because what's going to happen, the purpose of these, the purpose of these is to make contact with the bearings. So when the bearings are in there, they're going to sit in there, and this is going to make contact with the bearing. But it just barely touches the bearing. So what we're going to do is from the top, once these are in, we're going to put a screwdriver, just give it a gentle bend down, just a gentle bend. Not even a 1/16 of an inch bend. Okay, you can barely see the bend that's in there. See if I can get the light on it. So it's just a gentle bend. It's a little curved. So that when the bearing goes in there, okay, the bearing, it'll actually have pressure on the bearing. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to put our 1/2 inch screws in from the back side. Then we're going to take our screw eye and pick a side. We're going to carry blue all the way through on the same side. Whatever side you pick is fine. I'm going to make blue the outer one here. Okay, so this is what it should look like when you're done. Make sure none of the wings on the wing nuts touch. Okay, so this now is going to be, put this aside. This is going to go, put this aside over here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to work on the bearing shaft end. Okay, one of the parts I forgot to mention in the beginning is you're going to need a number 6 1-inch screw plus a nut, plus I believe that's a number 10 copper washer, and a number 6, that might even be a number 4 washer. And whatever kind of washers can stack up. You can even use a steel washer there, I don't really care. Because what's going to happen, this is the end that's going to connect. This is going to be the place where we're going to put the bearings on this end here. Okay, and you'll notice there's a little hole here and a little half hole here. What's going to happen, we're going to take our other piece of wire, the one that doesn't have the eyes on it. We're going to cut about a 1/2 inch insulation and twist it up really tight. And what's going to happen is, first, there's a little slot in the back to take the wire in. We're just going to, this is kind of like the strain relief. Push those through. And then we're going to push the blue wire and into the hole. Now there's going to be one strand that's not going to go through. I'll have to clip that off. And then the yellow wire, we're going to have it so there's a little flat part of the wire here. We're going to put that in that hole. Because what's going to happen is the first bearing is going to make contact with here. Then there's going to be a screw that's going to go through the bottom here that's going to make contact with this wire. And that's going to convey the signal out to the other side to the other bearing. So we're going to put this bearing on first and try to get it over that wire. That's pretty good. Okay, then we're going to put the spacer on. Then we're going to put the other bearing on. Now on this side, sorry, I keep drifting off the camera. We're going to put the screw through. I'm going to use another screw to push that screw through. Now that should be impinging on this wire right here. And then you'll see the screw come out the top. Then we're going to put the copper washer. Actually, I think that's all we have room for is the copper washer. That's fine. Okay, and then we're going to, I got to get a small screwdriver, but we're going to snug this through. And then we're going to do a continuity check to make sure that this wire, the blue wire, makes contact with the outer bearing. And then we're going to make sure that the yellow wire makes contact with the inner bearing. And then we're going to check, make sure they're not shorted in any way, shape, or form. Okay, this is just connecting to the ends of the wires to make sure there's no shorts across the brushes. Now, it's just coincidence that I picked these test leads to be these colors, but it serves our purpose. So now I'm going to make sure that the yellow wire is connected to the inner brush. And I don't know why the reading is all over the place. Maybe that's the nature of a bearing. Let me put it down so I'm not moving it. So it's about 200 ohms. I guess that's okay for stainless steel. So I hope this works out as a good brush material. I think I like it, so I'm hoping. Now I'm connecting to the outer brush, and we're getting overload. Now I'm going to connect to the outer brush wire, which is the blue wire over here. And we're getting a nice solid 13 ohms. Oh, so it must mean... Well, I'm going to research this. I'm beginning to think that my connection to the inside here isn't... yellow isn't as good as I think it is. The outside connection is good. We're actually getting 0 right now. So I'm going to research that. This is telling me my method of making connection to the inner brush isn't as good as my connection. Because my connection to the outer brush is actually through a screw that's actually binding on the center shaft. So that's probably why the connection is so much better. So I'm going to do a little more research on that. Maybe improve that. Okay, I did a little research on this, and it just seems to be that's an intermittent nature of bearings. I don't know if this is going to be good for us to use, but we're going to find out. If that doesn't work out, we're going to have to come up with something else. I think it's okay because the brushes we were using before, the carbon brushes, were intermittent, so we just put a big capacitor across to kind of remember the voltage until it made contact again. So I got a feeling this will be okay. But if not, you know, we'll find out and we'll correct it later. So now what we want to do is we want to put one end of our brass. Now don't push it all the way in so it makes contact with the screw. Okay, just enough. And then we want to put our, where's that other part? Want to put our shaft driver on the other end. Now we may have to sink screws through these to make them not slip, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Okay, then we're going to put this side in. I'm going to push this guy back a little bit. Oh, first what we're going to do is we're going to wrap this around here for now for safekeeping. And what we're going to do is we're going to short the ends together because we're going to do a loop test through it. And so we're just going to, okay, so we got the shaft on one end and we got the cable wrapped around. And then we're just going to put a little bit of blue tape just to kind of hold this end of the wire from flipping off. For now, it's temporary. And then we can put our bearings in over here. Hope you can see that. That's there. Then we're going to put our bearing cover on. Okay, so what I have now is I have the ohmmeter hooked up to the ends of the lead that go to the screw eyes that go into our bearing housing assembly, which makes contact to these wires that are taped to the bearing, to the shaft, that make contact through the bearing. Okay, and again, all we did was we just shorted the other end of the wire over here and just taped it. So this All this wire is doing is acting as a short, so we can measure to see how well the circuit goes through the bearing back out the other bearing. That's all we're doing. This is just a test. Okay, and so far we're getting like 0.1 ohms. And then if we rotate it, it's a little bit of intermittency. But generally it's not bad. I think that's generally acceptable. Okay, that's pretty good. So when everything's all sandwiched together and locked down, the bearing uncertainty is a lot better than it was when we were measuring it. I didn't make any improvement. I couldn't find any reason why the contact, the way it was made for the yellow wire to the inner bearing was, there was nothing wrong with it. It's just a case of the bearing is a little bit, you know, when the bearings rotate, they're making intermittent contact. Okay, and we're going through, I believe these are stainless steel bearings, so there might be a little bit more resistance, whatever. But, you know, being locked down, it looks like everything is going to work out nice. Yes, we have some intermittent lost contact, but generally it looks okay. We can live with that. We're going to put a filter on it that's going to get rid of that, so I'm not worried about that. Again, if it does end up causing us problems, we will change the bearings out later. This ends part 2, which is the bearing and shaft assembly. The next part, we'll start developing the brush assemblies and the rotors.